Okay. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about atomic and ionic radii of second and third transition series elements. Alright. So in this topic now we are going to discuss about atomic and ionic radii of these elements. Alright. So earlier already I discussed about what is meant by atomic and ionic radii. So again, if you want to recall what is meant by atomic radii, it is nothing but the distance of nucleus up to outermost electron, the distance between nucleus and outermost electron. Alright, that distance it is called as atomic radius of that element. Alright, so and if you want to recall the definition of ionic radii, it is also the distance of nucleus and that influence of ion. Alright, so distance between these two things it is called as ionic radii. Alright, तो ये सारी चीज़ें अपन ने ऑलरेडी डिस्कस किए हैं, तो इसमें ज़्यादा टाइम वेस्ट करने की ज़रूरत नहीं. So now we are going to discuss the atomic and ionic radii of these second and third transition series elements. Alright, so how that atomic radii it decreases or increases, alright, from second transition element to third. So now we are going to discuss. If you remember the trend or change in atomic radii in period. So atomic radii in period it decreases from left to right. Alright, so all these things we know. Alright, but in this topic we are studying combinedly second transition series and third transition series. So now we are going to see combinedly what is the effect of atomic radii and ionic radii in these two series. Alright, so it is found that the atomic and ionic radii it decreases from left to right, alright, and increases from top to bottom in group. If you remember it decreases from and increases from top to bottom. So clearly it indicates that if we move from second transition series to third transition series, the atomic radii should increase. Alright, so it should increase, but actually what happened, the atomic radii of second transition series and third transition series, they are almost similar. Then why it is so? Is there should be something or proper reason should be there. Alright, to explain this thing, because already I told you that if we move from top to bottom, atomic radii increases. Alright, but just now I told you while moving from second transition series to third transition series, the size or atomic radii of these elements, they remain almost equal. So actually the reason behind this is one term. As we know, second transition series starts from which element? If you remember, yttrium. Alright. Then after yttrium, it's zirconium. So I think first I will write all three series, then I will explain, then you can understand more clearly how that pattern of atomic radii changes. Alright. So first I will write all three series. Some few elements I am going to write. So it is first transition series, it is second, and it is third. So first transition series starts from scandium, titanium, vanadium. Alright, so three elements I am going to write for each series. Alright, so second transition series, yttrium, zirconium, niobium. And for third transition series, so in third transition series, first element is lanthanum. Alright, it is lanthanum. And after lanthanum it is hafnium, and then it is tantalum. Alright, so we have written three elements of each three series, first series, second and third transition series. So now if you look at these elements very carefully, so in after first transition series, if you move down, alright, from scandium to yttrium, from titanium to zirconium, and from vanadium to niobium, definitely atomic radii increases. Atomic radii or atomic size increases. Alright. And now if you move from this second transition series to third transition series, means from zirconium to hafnium, the size again should increase, but actually the atomic radii or atomic size remains almost same. Atomic radii remain same. Then why this thing happen? Why this thing happen? Because if you look carefully, these first for these first three elements, it is true that size increases from scandium to vanadium, sorry, yttrium, and yttrium to lanthanum. Alright, but if you move in this series, titanium, zirconium, and hafnium, the atomic radii of zirconium and hafnium is same, because after lanthanum, there are at this position, there are 14 elements. There are 14 elements, and these 14 elements, they are F block elements. Which elements are there in this case? F block elements. Alright, so in between this lanthanum and hafnium, there are 14 F block elements, and if you remember the electronic configuration of that F block element, the last electron enters into F subshell. Alright, and if you add last electron into F subshell and what happen after adding the electron, it increases the nuclear charge in nucleus, and also that f orbital is also going to fulfilled by electrons. So more attraction is there in between nucleus and that F shell orbital. Alright, so if more attraction is there, so that radius size is going to decrease. Alright, so this is true for all these 14 elements, because there are 14 elements and every element is going to add that F electron into that F subshell, and that will decrease the atomic radii or atomic size of that element. So if the atomic radii or atomic size of these elements decreases, automatically after these elements also same things will repeat. Alright, same thing will repeat in case of hafnium, tantalum and all the other rest elements. Alright, so because of this, what happened, the size of rest of all these elements, that size is also like these lanthanides, so size is also small. So if you compare these second transition series and third transition series, so because of this, it is called as what is size contraction, called as lanthanide contraction. Lanthanide contraction. Alright, it is called as lanthanide contraction. So because of this lanthanide contraction, the size decreases. And if you compare these two elements like zirconium and hafnium, or like niobium and tantalum, or other elements in these both series, the size will be same. Alright, so if they ask you question on atomic and ionic radii of these second and third transition series elements, you can explain these points. Alright, so you have to consider all three elements, all three transition series elements. Alright, and then you have to write, you have to include this point, lanthanide contraction. Alright, so because of this lanthanide contraction, this they uh, they will know that you know this lanthanide contraction. Alright, so theory behind this is lanthanide contraction. So it was the atomic and ionic radii of second and third transition series. So in conclusion, again I am going to repeat these things, that in first transition series, if we consider these three series, first transition series, second transition series and third, so while moving from first to second transition series, size increases. Alright, size increases, but after second transition to third transition series, size of those elements will remain same, constant. Alright, we are going to discuss about oxidation states of these second transition and third transition series elements. Alright, so up to now we have finished some properties like electronic configuration, then we have discussed the atomic and ionic radii. Alright, now we are going to discuss the oxidation states of the second and third transition series elements. So if you remember, when I discussed the oxidation states of first transition series elements, that directly it depends upon the electronic configuration. Alright, so uh, what is actually the meaning of that oxidation state? It is nothing but the loss or gain of electron to form compound. Alright, so it depends on how many electrons that element loss or gain to form any compound. So it is nothing but the oxidation state of that element. So when we discuss the first transition series elements, and if you remember, the minimum oxidation state of that first transition series element is +1. And why it is +1? Because in 4s orbital, if you remember, please try to remember, because we already covered up that first transition series. Alright, so if you carefully look at that electronic configuration, at, like for example chromium or copper, in that case in 4s orbital there is one electron only. Alright, so that one electron, that element can donate to form any compound. While formation of compound, these elements, they can donate one electron. So because of that, the oxidation state, minimum oxidation state of some those elements, it is +1. Alright, but in case of first transition series, it was okay. We can directly connect that oxidation state with electronic configuration. Alright, we can take electron from 4s and 3d orbital because they are of equal energy. But in case of these second and third transition series elements, we cannot directly link this oxidation state with electronic configuration, because in this case oxidation state is little bit different than electronic configuration. Alright, so for that matter, we have to remember some points regarding these oxidation states of second and third transition series elements. Alright, so if you remember, when moving from second transition series to first transition series to second and third transition series, that the ionization potential values, it decreases or increases? It decreases. Alright, because size increases, so less energy we require for removal of that last electron. So oxidation states of these elements also, in case of second transition series and third transition series, oxidation state also get increased. So in case of, for example, if you look at these elements like iron, so first I have to explain this to you, that this I have written 3 boxes. Alright, so first this column, it belongs to first transition series, it is second transition series, and last one third transition series. So I have written some elements. Alright, and I have written their maximum oxidation states. So if you recall first transition series, in case of manganese, we can found that +7 is maximum oxidation state. Alright, and what is the minimum oxidation state? It is +1. And if you look at second transition series and also third transition series, and if you consider ruthenium and osmium, we can see that in case of these two elements, the maximum oxidation state we can find is that +8. Alright, so from this point, one easy conclusion we can make, that the second and third transition series, they show higher oxidation state than first transition series. Alright, so this was actually important point regarding this oxidation state while studying second and third transition series. Alright, so after these elements, some elements I left. Actually, I wanted to explain these important points. So after these elements, if you check the oxidation states of these elements, the oxidation states will get decreases. Alright, so that oxidation state will get decreased. So from these oxidation states and this table, we can make some conclusions. Alright, so which conclusions we can make? So first point, very important point regarding ruthenium and osmium. I actually already explained you what does what was that point. It was these two elements in second and third series, they show maximum oxidation state. So in which compound they show maximum oxidation state? For example, ruthenium, if you want to consider, if we have to consider ruthenium, then we have to give one example. So for in case of ruthenium, we can write ruthenium tetroxide ReO4. Alright, so in this case ruthenium, it show +8 oxidation state. Also a compound of osmium, for example OSO4, in this compound also osmium, it show +8 oxidation state. Alright, so this was one conclusion we have made regarding maximum oxidation state and which elements they show maximum oxidation state and which compounds. I mean for we saw the example of those elements. Alright, again one more point I would like to explain is that if you look carefully at these elements like chromium, molybdenum and tungsten, if you consider these three elements, alright, so if we look carefully, then you can find that in all these three elements the maximum oxidation state is +6. Alright, +6. So but actually the properties of these three elements, they are not same. Alright, so what does it mean? It means if you take for example chromium, if you take example of chromium 6, alright, so it acts as good oxidizing agent. Alright, it acts as good oxidizing agent, so it oxidizes some other substance, so it itself get reduced. Alright, so it can reduce to +3. So because of this, it is good oxidizing agent. Alright, so it get reduced into Cr3 plus. Okay, but in case of molybdenum and tungsten, the +3 state of molybdenum and tungsten is not possible. Alright, so because of this, they are not considered as oxidizing agent, or because that +3 oxidation state is not stable. The molybdenum and tungsten, they are very stable at this oxidation state. Alright, so like this, some 2-3 points you can write regarding conclusion of these oxidation states of second and third transition series. Alright, so you have to remember some points, and you don't have to remember all oxidation states of these elements, because I think it is quite little bit difficult. So but few points you can remember, like maximum oxidation state, they show maximum oxidation state +8. Which elements? So you have to remember the elements, two elements, ruthenium and osmium, they show highest oxidation state, that is +8. Alright, so and again we have seen one point, that is we have compared these three elements, chromium, molybdenum and tungsten. So if you compare these points, chromium is good oxidizing agent because it easily get reduced into +3 oxidation state, but it's not possible with molybdenum and tungsten. Alright, so this was about oxidation states of second and third transition series elements.